right, people. Mr. Right here with lesson 7 for the horn in F. In this lesson, we'll be talking about eighth notes. Hmm. You know, I want you to think for a minute. Let's see. Over here's a whole note. Takes up the whole measure. It gets 4 beats. And when you cut that in half, you get half notes. I don't see any half. There's a half note. There's some half notes right there. They're 2 beats apiece, right? And if you divide up the whole note into 4 quarters, you get 4 quarter notes. They get 1 beat apiece. What if you take a whole note like this and cut it into 8 parts? Hmm. Ooh, right down here, you get eighth notes. You see the pattern developing here? Each one of the, see these group of 2 right there that I'm kind of hovering around? Those 2 fall on beat 1, and we would say 1 and these fall on beat 2. See, we've cut a quarter note in half, and this is the first half of the beat now. You know how a quarter note here takes up 1 whole beat? Well, when you cut that in half, these little eighth notes joined by a single bar, and it can be a group of 4, it could be a group of 2, but these 2 right here, they take up 1 beat. We've cut the beat in half. Now this is what we need to talk about: downbeats and upbeats. Now imagine that this is the floor and this is your foot tapping on the floor, okay? And your foot's tapping along to the beat, the quarter note beat, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Your foot is striking the floor on the downbeat. And when you lift your foot up to the highest place, that's the upbeat. Here's the downbeat, boom, 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 boom. But when you want to go accent the upbeat, you'll go and, and. Perhaps you've seen somebody dancing going, oh, 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 oh. They weren't just dancing, they were secretly educating you on how to feel eighth note upbeats. So, right here, we've got the way you would read this. Remember, these are eighth notes, so it takes these 2 to make up beat 1 in this measure. These get a whole beat by themselves, and we got just downbeats, down, 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 because it just takes the whole beat. But here, when we cut the beat in half, we need to designate a downbeat and an upbeat. So you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, like so. If you're down here in number 4 in this measure, it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? You got a note occurring on every downbeat, every upbeat throughout the measure. And if you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you don't have to look at every last little note. You just read the measure as a word in English or whatever language, and you say, "Oh, I'm just going back and forth between these 2 notes, and so I just got to keep track of where I'm at. I'm gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you're finished. You've done exactly 8 notes of eighth notes. So let's try this now. I think I've explained everything a good bit. We start right here. This is a bit of a review, but then we get down to the eighth notes right here. But so let's start off with number 1. And to find this first high C, maybe it's a good idea to play a low C that's so easy to hit. And then our ear will be able to help us nail that high C. So here's a low C. All right. Worked pretty good, didn't it, huh? So here we go. And I've got my metronome set at 90 beats per minute. 1, 2. Now, in number 2, remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. You got to immediately, after you do this eighth note upbeat, you got to immediately jump to that downbeat of that next rate because you don't want it to stall. 1 and, no, it's 1 and 2. Beat 2 comes right after that. So it's 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. So it's boom, right on the next downbeat. So let's try number 2. Ready? And 1, 2, ready? And again, remember, whenever you're playing consecutive quarter notes or any kind of note, you want to make sure that you're not moving the jaw. It's just and also that you're blowing a continuous airstream, and the only thing moving in your mouth is your tongue going just to interrupt or bump that airstream. Now, moving down to number 3, you got to count these rest values right here so that we know exactly when to come back in on the next measure. So here comes number 3. And 1, 2. Number 4. Ready? Here we. Two, three, 4. 2. Okay, let's go to number 5. A little bit of different rhythms right here. 2 beats of rest in the middle of the measure, just to kind of mixing it up a little bit. Remember, it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, and 4. I move my mouse 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right? You just rest on beat 4. Right? I think you get the idea. Let's try number 5. 1, 2. Two, three. Okay, now remember this next exercise right here has got a crescendo. Let's see, did I? Yeah, we've already introduced crescendos earlier in the lesson, another lesson. So we want to start soft, crescendo, and drive it into this next measure. And as you crescendo, blowing faster air, you want to make sure your embouchure stays steady, that it doesn't get blown out, so that you maintain your pitch. So let's start on this F. So we may want to walk our way up to that F from a low C. There's your F, your starting pitch, and ready, 2, 3. Cool. All right. So that is lesson 7. Hopefully that will get you started in understanding how these eighth notes. Remember, this is all beat 1. Here's beat 2, beat 3. You'll be able to read music a lot better if you can understand where the beat lies throughout the measure.